Hey, MadLab Nation. Welcome to the Rainmaker 201 show. And this is Greg Mack, your humble sales servant. And I've got with me here Carl Brenton from the Grand Cayman Islands, British West Indies, CrossFit 7 Miles Strength and Fitness. And I wanted to talk with Carl a little bit about his experiences with the Rainmaker Program and with his staff. And he can introduce a little background on what's going on down in the Grand Cayman. So, Carl, give us a little synopsis of your journey.
Great, thanks, Greg. We run a CrossFit affiliate down in the Cayman Islands. We went through the rebrand, as a lot of you have done. We opened our gym in December of 2010. Joined officially with MadLab in December of 2015. After kind of a couple, 3 really good years, and then kind of tailing off, and then realized we need some structure around it. So I was first introduced to Greg at the summit in 2016. Knew I really wanted to get the principles and what Greg was talking about. Wanted to get our coaches on board with that and have them use those principles when talking to prospects and their clients. And I think the big thing for us, I wasn't so worried about the sale, which I think a lot of gyms maybe do need a lot of help with that. We were really good at closing sales, but what we weren't doing is really connecting at a higher level with our prospects that were turning into clients. And so our retention wasn't where it needed to be. And so that's been the big help for us, is connecting in that initial sales process at a higher level, asking deeper questions and connecting better.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Carl, because a lot of folks, I think, might think of the course as a course just for like the front end of the relationship and trying to figure out how to decide whether or not they should even be in the facility working with the staff, let alone the skills and the strategies and the techniques carrying forward to reduce that churn rate, because that's just a very frustrating process to spend all this time and energy bringing on new members, being excited about their involvement. 6 months later, 8 months later, half of them are just gone.
Yeah, exactly. And also not being afraid to say no to the wrong clients. So I think, prior to having, so Greg, when did you come out to our facility? It was November of last year, October 2017.
I think it was October, November, right around in there.
Yeah. So, I think that was a big thing where the coaches maybe thought I would, me as an owner, Donna as a GM would, get mad at them for not closing a sale or something like that. And, you really helped us define what is that ideal client. And, there are some people we should say no to, people that really don't want our help and are just kind of fishing around, and they're going to waste a whole bunch of time up front with us going through that fundamentals process where coaches can't take on other clients or they can't service their existing clients, because it's a huge upfront investment of time for someone to just kind of go through that for, 5 to 6 weeks with your coaches, quit because it wasn't really what they wanted and you didn't really flesh that out in the beginning. That was a big help. And just being confident, staying on the side.
Yeah, overcoming that commodity mindset the consumer has and really trying to flush out, who really wants to take care of themselves and be involved in exercise and fitness for their whole life. It's far more satisfying for the coach, I think, as well. Is that what your coaches are experiencing?
Yeah, big time. Especially Julia's really commented on how she's connecting much better with her clients up front. Everyone really benefited a lot from it, but specifically, she's mentioned to me a number of times of how she's really connecting on a better level, and also staying on the side of no with certain people. We had a member who probably dropped off 4 or 5 times before, and she'd come back for a couple months, and it was shortly after you're out, and she wanted to join up again. I think it was around the end of the year, January or something that time, and Julia kind of went through the whole process, staying on the side of no with her, and then finally the lady just said, "Well, I feel like you don't want me to come back." And Julia was, well, I don't if you're not going to stick to it and make yourself a priority, and it really helped. And eventually they got to a point where they had an agreement on what was going to happen. And and that was 6 months ago, and she's still there. It's probably the longest she's been with us.
Outstanding.
Really, setting up those parameters and rules from the beginning really helped.
Yeah, and so establishing that professional relationship and the professional expectations and the professional culture, that all happens in that front end sales interviewing process. And if it doesn't get set up, that foundation doesn't get set up properly, then the consumer has no qualms about just coming and going and taking advantage of you and dropping when they feel like it. And they may not recognize it as disrespectful, but it certainly feels that way, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, this particular client, they basically agreed this is the last time that you're becoming a client. So, if you drop off again, then, you can talk to Anytime Fitness, World Gym, or someone else about your next fitness experience, because we put a lot of time into you at this point, and, you really have to value that from a professional coach perspective.
Yeah, and so we get into that notion of quality over quantity, and it's not that you don't need a certain number of members to make money. Absolutely, you do. But if given a choice, I know professionally myself, I'll take quality over quantity, because I've done the quantity game before, and it's just a formula for burnout, is what it is.
Right. Yeah. It's also setting your coaches up to be professional from the very beginning, right? So, it's very difficult to run a proper business without professionals in there. So I'm an accountant, I'm a CPA, and, I worked in public practice before, and, it'd be really tough to run an accounting practice with part-time people who aren't professional, right? And I think that's the same in the gym business. Obviously you can have some part-time staff as part of your cohort, and they help with class and everything, but if you're trying to run a professional business, you need professional coaches that can make a living doing this.
Absolutely. Did you see some change in monthly and quarterly sales revenue?
Yeah, we've had some pretty big numbers. I think January was our second biggest month ever. We've had a good year. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but
that's okay. I was just wondering if the number impact was there as well. But I think the quality and the quantity, because what starts to happen is when you build the world you want to build, the way referrals work, and referrals are powerful sources of potential new suspects and prospects, is people can only tell other people their experience, and if you have a culture of professionalism and mutual respect, well, that's what they're going to start telling other people. And so the referrals coming in, the quality of those referrals will start to change. And you won't get these commodity retail over-the-counter seekers of fitness.
Right. And that's another big part of the Rainmaker course, was an actual structure around referrals, having the coaches being comfortable asking for referrals at certain points in the sales process, whether it be right up front at the beginning, kind of reminding them as they go through, and then just throughout their relationship. So just a lot more structure around asking for referrals, and that's been very successful.
Yeah, not a shameful thing to do, right?
Right. Yeah, I can help more people, right? I can help more people like you.
And people don't always mind that. So yeah, it's a strange thing, the whole emotions around money, right? And thinking that we're going to impose on people and ask them things that they'll look down on us for. And a lot of that stuff, we tried to cover in the course. I don't know if you had any staff who got over some of those internal dialogues.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, even some of the internal things that you feel about sales, we kind of feel like when you initially sell somebody into fundamentals and they pay $1,000, you're like, okay, I've tapped this person out. But they're actually really primed at that point to, refer you to other people. If you look at your members, when they sign up, they'll probably go into the local sports supply store and buy new shoes and buy new shorts. Like, they're primed to go, right? Like they're buying it. They're not scared to spend a bit more money. So,
No, and they're probably telling the people in their life, hey, I just went over to this facility. It was very professional. Looks like they got it together. I'm real excited about getting started. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of gyms out there, their members, when they get started, their members spend more on new gear than what they're started in their gym. They're like coming in for $99 and getting started, then they go out and buy $300 worth of Reebok gear.
Absolutely. Well, it's exciting. So, do you have any tips, advice, suggestions to the folks listening about,
So the big thing is, if you don't use it, you lose it. So, one thing we implemented after you were there is we do a monthly call with you. And then in between the monthly call, the coaches also do a sales meeting. So basically every 2 weeks, they're going over the work. I think the guys in Vancouver, I think they have a weekly sales meeting. I didn't want to push it too much. I thought twice a month was good. It's been working really well. And what that does, it allows the coaches to talk about the sales actions they've had over the past couple of weeks amongst each other. And then they can kind of weigh in on, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? And, maybe if you'd have said this. And it's just a really great way to reflect, because I think had we just had you there, gone through it, and then you left and we never, put in that structure, I think a lot of the knowledge would have just walked out the door with you. We got it and absorbed it, and it was really great. But again, you got to just kind of keep working on it and talking about it, or you're going to lose it. And I think that's been the key to our success.
Yeah, I agree with you. The long-term positive reinforcement's necessary. It's a huge data dump. We're going over a tremendous amount of information, probably 20, 25 different tactical and strategic communication strategies. And there's just no way, anyone's going to even grasp 10% of those things right off the bat. And so, yeah, we encourage folks to, whether you go to a live event or do the online version, get into the monthly Macks and the monthly reinforcements, and get your staff to, focus a couple times a month, as Carl said, to looking at the material, because it's going to, professionals debrief, professionals review game film. That's what they do. And you just need to be working with your teammates to get better. And that's what's fantastic. It's probably why you're achieving and sustaining the success that you are. So, great. Any last tidbits of knowledge, bombs for the crew listening?
Not necessarily a tip, but just if you've seen Greg at the summit, it's a very small snippet of what he gets to do. And over the 2.5 days of work, it's very detailed. It's very, very good material. It's a lot different than what I expected I was going to get from seeing you at the summit. The summit, you're very fired up and you're you're on and everything, and you're definitely on for the whole weekend. But it's a much deeper level, obviously, because you can go into it for a couple of days, and just the material is really great. And if you want to have professional coaches, you have to have some sort of a professional sales process. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Don't try and wing it.
Absolutely. Well, it's been my pleasure to support you guys and your crew down there, and hopefully you'll have me back. I love the Grand Cayman, so no problem me getting down there. And good luck with the rest of your day. And you guys get out there. Let's make some rain. You're compassionate, professional, lifelong fitness, exercise people. Your communities need you to do what you do. So go out there and find those humans and talk to them. They're there. All right, you guys. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Greg. Bye.